It was the night before Thanksgiving, and all through the house not a creature was stirring except this old man in the garage. Well, everybody, that's Skip Jeffries here, out in the garage here. Evening before Thanksgiving, and well, worked a 10-hour day. Edited a couple videos from last weekend, and then decided I'd go out in the garage and get this Thanksgiving turkey thing at least seasoned up so we can put it in the oven tomorrow. So thought I'd take you guys along on my little voyage here, and guess we'll get kind of started here. I don't know what everybody else does for turkeys every year. I mean, I try to change it up every year that we do a turkey. It's been a while since we've done one, at least 2 to 3 years. The last couple years we've gone out to my brother-in-law's place. They've got a little wedding venue that's got I guess a seating area that's pretty good size. I mean, you can get close to probably 100 people in there. And this year they decided to do something a little small, low-key with just their family members. I mean, everybody's getting older. I mean, we're all in our 50s, and you got family and grandkids of your own, so you kind of celebrate your own little way, kind of make your own little history, kind of like what you did as a kid with your grandparents. So without further ado here, we'll kind of get started on what I use for my process. This year we're going to change it up. I decided I'd try a little bit of coconut oil on the outside. It's kind of like a binder on it to kind of adhere the seasonings to. I was thinking the sweetness of it will kind of offset the saltiness of the spices that I've got going on. The other concoction that I normally do this year, normally I like the Creole one, but this year we're going with the roasted and garlic herb injector kit here. And to complement that, I've got some Weber roasted garlic and herb seasoning that we're going to toss on this turkey. Along with that, a little bit of paprika for coloring, and then we'll probably gently season it with some salt here. Read online, we're gonna use up the rest of this onion. We've got some celery stalks we're gonna cut up, along with orange and a couple apples here that we're gonna put on the inside of this turkey, kind of to keep it moist. And along with that, we're gonna stick in 1 stick of butter, and then a couple cloves of garlic here. So without further ado, I think we're going to, well, I've already pre-chopped up the garlic here just to kind of save some time. I'm tired. So we're just kind of gonna load this in the pan here, and then we'll stuff the bird. I wish I had a bowl, or thought further ahead to have a bowl here, but it is what it is. It's late night, trying to get the things done. I think we're probably gonna throw on some gloves here, just so I don't have to smell garlic and whatnot all night on my hands. No matter how hard you scrub, you never get it off. But anyways, we'll go ahead and throw in, get started here. By the way, yeah, we've got just under a 12-pound bird this year. We've got planning on maybe 6 to 8 people if they all show. We've got a solid 4 that are coming, so we'll go from there. And we'll start by just dicing up our celery stalks, just a rough cut. And you don't have to finely chop, because you're gonna probably end up pulling it out and throw it in the garbage anyways. For the orange, we're just gonna quarter this bad boy and stick it inside the bird here. So we'll go ahead and cut it and cut it. Like I said, trying to keep this light, quick and easy. Shooting for maybe a 15-20 minute prep. We'll see. If you got your clocks going on here, we'll go from there. We've got our apple. We'll kind of do the same thing with the orange here. Kind of just quarter it and call it good. And I'm not decoring it or anything. Like I said, it's going to be like the celery, kind of sacrificial. We'll probably end up throwing it in the garbage anyways. And then we'll go ahead and just cut up our onion here. And that too we'll do like we did with the rest. I will take the peel off here, the outer crusty layers. And like some people do, I've seen online, they'll save these peels, actually put them in a freezer bag, put it in the freezer, and then kind of cook it down with some chicken bones or beef bones, and do almost like a beef broth soup. So I started that this summer, didn't keep up with it. I just got too busy with things and really didn't do a whole lot of cooking videos. So I mean, this is the first one in a while. So bear with me. Like I said, it's late here, and I've worked a 10-hour day, and I'm about ready for bed, but this has got to get done before I can hit bed here. So we'll quarter this onion up, and then we'll go ahead and probably look at, I think, stuffing the turkey and then coating it with coconut oil, seasoning it up, and then injecting it and putting it in a bag here. Yeah, the final ingredient here is the oven bag, and then I've got a tin roaster that we can toss when we're all done. So let's go ahead and grab this turkey. And like I said, it's just under a 12-pound bird. We kind of followed the recommended guidelines on thawing it, and like usual, it didn't work. I'm gonna save the tag here so I can do my calculations on the cook times, but we're sitting at right about 11.59 pounds. So this one here is a butterball. And normally I'm not too picky. It's normally whatever the wife brings home I kind of pick up here. Oh, we even got some directions on it. I'm hoping we get some gravy with this, but we do have some gravy that we picked up earlier in the week. Let's go ahead and free this bad boy. They say you can grip and tear, but I don't see that happen. My grip strength just ain't there. We'll go ahead and just slice the bag here. Now this thing is feeling pretty solid here, but I think we can finagle it. And this year, normally when I get these bad boys, I'll spatchcock them. And I don't know if you're familiar with spatchcocking, but spatchcocking is when you actually kind of cut out the backbone on these bad boys on either side. And you take it out and then you lay them flat on the ground, you press them down, bust up the breastbone on it so it lies flat. And every time I've done that, the meat has always been pretty tender. So as you can see here, this bird is pretty frozen. So I'm hoping we can get what we can get out of here. Oh man. So I guess my recommendations to you all would probably be do the calculations per pound and then kind of double it. So like I said, I took this out of the freezer, I'm thinking it was Thursday night, and it's still pretty solid. I may run it under some water and see if I can thaw this bad boy out, but let me take care of that and we'll get back from the quick de-thaw in the kitchen sink here. We'll do another dry wipe on the bird here, kind of pat it dry, get all that excess moisture out from inside and out. Yeah, every year I have the same thing. You think you've got it thawed enough and it never works out as planned. But yeah, overcome and get by with it. So going ahead, pulled out the gizzard. Normally I kind of throw that in the bag itself. I'll season it up. And then I also season up I call it the giblets, which is kind of like your heart, lungs, or whatever entrails that they put in there. So we'll kind of cut that open here. I think the easiest way to start, I want to coat the inside with a little bit of that coconut oil, and I kind of melted it a little bit. And it's been sitting out here for about 5-10 minutes. Just to get it to be somewhere in between, not a whole lot of liquidy, but just enough so you can spread it across where you need it to go, and it's probably way beyond that. So the whole goal is to hopefully use whatever I've got in this little jar here, because it's not going back where it's going. We don't play the salmonella game here in this household. Yeah, I think I've got it coated pretty good. I'm sure I didn't open up my seasonings, so we'll go ahead and cap those bad boys open. And I will generously season just about every inch of this bird, if I can get it open here. And yeah, I mean, we'll just throw what we can throw in there. I like to keep the legs kind of tucked in its natural position. Let's see if we can do the little spoonful just to... There we go. Get a good seasoning mix rolled all around in there. All right, we'll start off with our butter. We'll just kind of stick that bad boy, tuck it in as far as we can. And I like using butter. For some reason, it just kind of keeps the meat moistened. Like I said, I'll inject it from the outside in to get that part of the big stuff. And then I just stuff it in start off with these little small pieces here. We'll put some garlic in there, kind of mix it up how you put it in. A couple orange slices, and I think we probably sliced out way too much, and we'll end up tossing most of that too. So make sure you get some onion up in there. And a lot of this stuff we'll probably toss in the bottom of the bag too, if it doesn't all fit inside the bird. I like to keep it relatively stuffed as much as we can. And celery, I don't know, I always put it in with roast, and I read earlier in the week that it's a good thing to kind of toss into turkey too. For some reason, I don't know if it tenderizes the meat, but every roast I've done, you can always tell when you forget to do the celery, because it just, I don't know if it's a taste thing or what the deal is. We've got that bad boy pretty well stuffed, and I think the rest of the stuff we'll actually put inside the bag itself. Let's go ahead and coat the outside of this turkey. Normally I'll coat the entire thing, but since it's going inside a bag, most of the drippings will go down anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. And just make sure you get it in all the crevices here, in between the armpits of the wing, and then season it up pretty good. Do the same thing with your legs. And normally, the reason I do it out in the garage is just because if you make a mess, it's easier to clean up. And plus two, my wife spent most of the day cleaning the house up for guests to come, so you don't want to dirty up her house late night doing a turkey here. And we'll go ahead and get this side. I like to say, I wouldn't say I enjoy doing it. It's just one of those natural evils that you end up doing as a man once you have a family. So I call it necessary evils here. And we may toss some of that leftover coconut oil into the bag itself too. Maybe we'll pour it over the top of the turkey here. So hopefully this is a good move. We'll see. First time trying coconut oil. I mean, I've heard good things about it on other stuff, so we'll give it a try on the turkey. I mean, I don't know what you guys do for your turkeys. Like I said, every year I do one, I always try to do something a little bit different. Whether it's how you cut it up or how you season it, you've got to try new things. And then we'll generously coat this thing with the seasonings. Like I said, we're making a hell of a mess here. I think we'll try the open end, seem to work better. Like I said, we'll probably toss a lot of this in the bag itself. And we'll go ahead and I'll end up washing all these bottles, by the way. I like using a little bit of paprika just to give it some color. I don't know if it does anything for the flavorings, but to me it kind of gives it that golden feel. And then we'll hit her with the salt. Alright, nothing too fancy. And it didn't look like the coconut oil did a good job as a binder. I think the coldness of the turkey kind of solidified it. So maybe this year's flop when it comes to doing the turkey this year. But I'll end up pouring a lot of that leftover juice or coconut oil into it. Let's see if there's an easy way of getting this top off without cutting off a finger. Nothing says a holiday like a hospital visit, and that's one of those things I'm trying to avoid this year. There we go. We'll give this a nice little stir. Get our injector. That bad boy installed. Try not to stab yourself in the process. Yeah, my goal this year was to get all this done, well, at least the prep work of buying everything the week before. So we had the turkey for a while. So we ended up getting that on sale, I think at Walmart, or maybe it was Reese's, who knows. But I think she got it for 97 cents a pound. I mean, everybody's complaining about inflation when you can get a turkey for 98 cents a pound, especially the way groceries have been this year. It's kind of crazy. So go ahead and just kind of stick it into the breast and inject pretty healthy until you start seeing, I like to start seeing a little bit of the juice kind of creep out the side. We got plenty of juice here. Normally I think these things are built for a bigger bird up to 20 some pounds. So I make sure I hit all the meaty portions in a couple areas. The breast I normally try to hit several different areas, and as you can see the skin's kind of inflating up. That's what you kind of like to see. I'll kind of hit the breast from this side up. Just pump it full of all that goodness. And hopefully letting this thing sit overnight. Normally I like to do a couple days, but it is what it is this year. We didn't know if we're gonna have Thanksgiving at our house or if we're going somewhere else, but we ended up getting talked into doing it at our place this year. So here we are, late night Wednesday, playing the catch-up game. All right, we're gonna go ahead and inject the leg. Try to find a meaty portion, and I try to go healthy as I can with that too. Stick some into the thigh itself. There we got quite a bit of juice. I just like how that skin puffs up. We'll hit her from this back side. Yeah, you can see that coconut oil just flaking off. Not the best idea I've had. But we tried. And I'm sure it'll work out fine. What do we got? A clog? There we go. Must have been a clog. We'll go ahead and see if we can get some into the wing itself. And you always want to make sure that breast is pretty well juicy. And probably any leftover marinade will probably end up dumping into the bag also, so keeping it real here. Yeah, we'll probably end up pouring a lot of this over the top. Probably should have did this while it was in the bag. But just to have it kind of roll down the turkey as it cooks, I think will be good. That made a hot mess. I'm gonna hit it with some more seasoning here. And we'll probably end up throwing the rest of this seasoning into the bag itself. Let's go ahead and try to finagle this sucker into the bag. Yeah, T-Day prep. Like Tony Horton always said, I hate it, but I love it. The end result is always good, so I mean that's what you got to look forward to. We should have a tie in there. Open that bad boy up. Where are you, tie? Oh, there you are. And they always give you two, so you got one for next year, unless you do two birds at once, which it could happen. And there's some more directions in the bag here. Alright, so we got our tie. Let's put the gloves back on. See if we can finagle this big bad boy into the bag. Oh, lost an apple. Probably not the smartest move putting the veggies in the tray, but it gives you a pretty good arm workout here. Make sure we get all these goodnesses out of there. Lay this bad boy in there because it's getting kind of heavy. Alright, and we'll go ahead and just kind of finagle our leftovers into this thing. Maybe stuff a couple more of these celery stalks where we can get it in. Like I said, we don't do anything too fancy here. It's just we do what we can to get it done. And that's the way it's been every year. I remember, I think our first year in the house, I had to go to some place in Mexico, and I ended up staying later than I wanted to. Got home the night before, was sicker than the dog, had to do a turkey. And like I said, we just kind of used up the seasonings that we had for the gizzard there. We'll go ahead and bust this bad boy open and see what kind of innards we got. I know my grandmother used to use a lot of these for the stuffing. So maybe we'll use the marinade. We'll kind of marinate these things and then we'll season them up. And then we'll just kind of toss them in the bag. Like I said, I go heavy with the seasoning. I'll hit both sides. So I believe we've got the liver and heart here. Liver. This bad boy here is the heart. Like I said, we probably will not use them, but you never know. Go ahead. Just kind of dump the rest of our marinade over the top. Well, we got a hot mess going on here. Get rid of some of our junk. We'll get rid of the rest of this seasoning. And then we'll just kind of tighten up the bag here. And we've got a mess to clean up. Yeah, let me go ahead and get these nasty gloves off. And then just simply tie off the end of your bag. And you're ready to rock and roll tomorrow. And I don't know what I'm sitting for time here. Probably a good 30 minutes. Ideally, I'd like to get this thing done in 10, but it never happens. So, I mean, perfection takes time, folks. But anyways, I'm going to toss this bird into the fridge for overnight. Let the seasonings kind of mellow it out. Let all the marinade juices kind of soak deep into the bones. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be enjoying a pretty good turkey dinner. But anyways, I just want to wish you all happy Thanksgiving. And thank you guys for watching.